Hi everyone. As management scholars, we are consumers, producers, and also evaluators of knowledge related to business management. It is therefore important for us to understand the foundational concepts of how knowledge is produced. Today, we will discuss the principle of verification from Ayer's seminal 1952 essay, The Elimination of Metaphysics. As a prominent figure in logical positivism movement, Ayer argues that many philosophical statements are meaningless because they cannot be empirically verified.
How do we distinguish science from pseudoscience? How can we differentiate meaningless statements from a meaningful statement? The statement, such as "Does God exist?" or "Let's take another statement, do we have free will?" These are the questions of reality, science, and common sense. These are the statements that are concerned with metaphysics. In his essay, The Elimination of Metaphysics, Ayer, a philosopher, argues that such statements are not just false, but they are literally meaningless because they fail the test of verifiability. The principle of verification means that a statement or proposition is factually significant or meaningful if we know what observations would confirm or disconfirm it. A statement is meaningful if it is either true by definition, analytic statement, or empirically verifiable. Now, let's take an example from business. If you remember, the principle of verification means that a statement or a proposition is factually significant or meaningful if we know what observations would confirm it or disconfirm it. So let's look at these two statements. The first statement, firm A's competitive advantage is reflected in sustained above average returns over 5 years. So the statement is verifiable because we know what observations can be collected to confirm it or disconfirm it. The observations are the financial data over 5 years of the firm. Taking that financial data, we can verify the statement if the data, if the returns are above average or below average. Similarly, let's take a look at the next statement. Statement 2. Firm A has inner competitive essence that guarantees success. The statement, if a strategic management researcher frames it in this manner, the statement is not verifiable as it claims an unobservable aspect called inner essence. Now, think about the psychological aspects such as motivation or aggression or personality. These are not verifiable as such, but if the psychologist link these constructs to behaviors, physiological measures, or test scores, it is scientific. But if these are left as mysterious as essence that cannot be tested, it slips into Ayer's metaphysical sense. So, as we saw in the previous example, it's really important for a researcher to frame the statements that are meaningful so that they do not slip into pseudoscience. Let me take another example from Strategic Management Journal. So, this research paper is from Siemens RC 2013, Fighting the City Hall, Entry Deterrence and Technology Deployment in Cable Television Markets. So, the context of this paper is about the cable firms, and these cable firms may face entry threat meaning new firms might enter to their market. And these new firms could be from outside the industry, such as telecom firms, or some firms could be within the industry. So, Siemens formulates his first hypothesis as incumbents facing a threat of entry from telecom firms. Incumbent means the existing players within the firm, within the industry, are more likely to use limit pricing than when facing a threat from the cable firms or insiders. So, insiders versus outsiders, if these incumbents face threat of entry from outside, then they will use limit pricing, or they're more likely to use limit pricing. But if these incumbents face a threat of entry from inside firms, then they will they might not. So this statement has implications. Now, the dependent variable, how is it measured? The dependent variable limit pricing is operationalized as monthly subscription fee for the basic cable service. If incumbents cut this price, that is taken as a evidence of limit pricing. If this cable subscription fee is lowered, then there is an evidence that there is limit pricing. Now, the key independent variable is whether a telecom firm like Verizon or AT&T, Uverse is present in the market. So, a telecom firm is not a cable firm. So, it's from outside. So, what observations would confirm or disconfirm this statement or hypothesis? If we see systemically lower prices in the market where telecoms are threatening entry, then our hypothesis is confirmed. What observations would disconfirm this hypothesis? If the prices are same, even if the telecom firms threatened the market entry, or if the prices are even higher when the telecom firms threatened the market entry, then hypothesis 1 or this statement is rejected. So, this is exactly what Ayer means by the factually significant statement. He wrote, a sentence is factually significant if we know what observations would lead them to accept the proposition as being true or reject it as being false. So, this hypothesis passes the test of verification. It's not vague metaphysical claim, but a scientific one, because we know the precise conditions under which it would be confirmed or disconfirmed. Thank you.